Tonight, how will Saskatchewan airports be impacted by a looming Air Canada work stoppage? Residents in a Saskatoon neighborhood are posting crimes on social media. And an extension to how long Wascana Pool can remain open this year.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. A looming Air Canada work stoppage from a labor dispute with Air Canada and flight attendants is causing all kinds of uncertainty at airports across the country. It's expected to start having an impact on flights as quickly as tomorrow, even if a lockout or strike can't begin until the weekend. Wayne Mantica brings us a look at the Saskatchewan impact.
Departing passengers at the Regina airport were uncertain about their return flights home as Air Canada prepares for a lockout on the weekend.
72-hour notice, and I don't know, I guess we'll see. If not, then we'll have to change things up. But this was kind of last minute, and we booked this trip, like 3 months ago?
So far, our flight is on time, but it certainly brings a bit of concern coming back with the strikes and everything. But yeah, for now, it all looks good, and fingers crossed, hopefully we'll get back soon.
Air Canada served lockout notice in the face of a pending strike by its flight attendants. It will allow for the orderly shutdown of operations. All flights connecting Regina and Saskatoon with Toronto will be suspended beginning Saturday. Flights operated by Air Canada Jazz to Vancouver and Montreal will continue.
Calling the airline would be incredibly challenging given, I'm sure, what will be a very high volume of calls. Generally, if you provided your email address or mobile phone number, Air Canada will proactively reach out to you like they would a delay or a cancellation to let you know what your options are.
The Saskatchewan government is concerned about the impact of a lockout. In a written statement, it said, "Any stoppage in air services is unfortunate, and we hope that the labor dispute gets resolved as soon as possible." There is a possibility that some flights may be canceled before the lockout begins as Air Canada winds down operations. Passengers will be contacted by the airline about any flight changes and what their options may be. Wayne Mantica, CTV News, Regina.
The Saskatchewan Health Authority is alerting the public about a measles exposure risk in the city of Yorkton. If you are at these businesses, Value Village, Dollarama, North 40, Parkland Surplus, or Walmart between noon and 6 p.m. on Tuesday, August 5th, you are asked to keep an eye on yourself for measles symptoms until August the 26th. Symptoms include a red, blotchy rash, fever, cough, runny nose, and fatigue. If you are unvaccinated or develop symptoms, do not go to a doctor's office. Instead, call Healthline 811. Another mental health treatment bed is coming to the city of Yorkton thanks to the Health Foundation of Yorkton and Saskatchewan Blue Cross. Every year, Saskatchewan Blue Cross picks a few health proposals from rural hospitals and their foundations. A mental health treatment bed was what the Health Foundation of Yorkton requested. Other proposals that is going to receive funding, a point-of-care ultrasound system in Weyburn, a barometric blood draw chair in Moose Jaw, safety bed alarms in Outlook, and a blanket warmer in Lloydminster for long care patients. With crime going back up since the pandemic in the Saskatoon region, there's one community that's been vigilant and posting incidents to social media to try and tackle the issue, something the police say is a good start. As Carla Shinkaruk tells us, while using technology in this way as a start, more is needed to help police.
This type of video is commonly seen on the Stonebridge Neighborhood Watch Facebook page, residents posting incidents of crime in their community. Brady Taylor started the page in 2012 after some vehicle break-ins.
I didn't really know my neighbors that well, and I knew that they had cameras, and Facebook groups were just starting to be a thing. And I said, well, maybe this is a way that I can connect with my neighbors that I don't really know.
And with crime increasing since the pandemic and numbers leveling off now, according to the Saskatoon Police, it's that concept of getting to know your neighbors that is valuable.
Ensuring that your place is properly secured is vital. Working together with your neighbors and family to ensuring that your property is secure.
With so many posts of crime in Stonebridge, everything from porch pirating, bike thefts, and vehicle break-ins, does that mean property crime is higher there?
The neighborhood is growing based on increase in residential builds, but the crime in itself is decreasing.
But for this inspector who's been with SPS for 20 years, that might not be the entire picture.
We only have been receiving about 50% of property crime reporting, and so we don't have all of the data.
While it's positive that people are posting on social media, that doesn't mean that those stats are recorded with SPS. That only happens when residents report the crime to police themselves.
For them to post social media videos, it is hugely important for the police for them to follow up and report the incident.
That's also vital so police resources can be allocated. So has the page and all its posts seen many success stories?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Even with lost items or items that were discarded.
Police saying they can also use those photos and videos to help with their investigations. Carla Shinkruk, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Sabine joins us for our first look at weather tonight. Sabine, there was a time today where we were seeing tornado warnings in Saskatchewan. Those are all completely disappeared, though.
For now, yeah, they are cleared. We're not seeing any of the tornado warnings, Lee, but we're seeing a number of severe thunderstorm warnings and watches for many parts of the province. But you can see southern Saskatchewan very clear when it comes to those warnings and watches. We're also seeing a number of rainfall warnings far north in Saskatchewan right now, too. So quite a bit of activity happening just to the north of us. But for southern Saskatchewan, it kind of is going to be the same story as we head into the rest, well, until the next few days at least. Temperatures also a little bit warmer today, but we'll see that change as we head into tomorrow. You can see southern Saskatchewan still sitting in the 30s in the southwest, 29 in Regina, and then further north we go a little cooler as we get further up north there. Temperatures today, we warmed up to 29 degrees. The average is 26. At 29, felt like 35 today. That won't be the case as we head into the next couple days. I'll have more information on that in your forecast. Lee?
Thank you, Sabine. About 24 Regina citizens met on the lawn of City Hall today to discuss ways to improve the City of Regina's encampment strategy. Some of the ideas shared include providing support for those living in encampments through access to washrooms and drinking water. The group is asking the city not to remove encampments until everyone has appropriate housing to go to.
So if as a city council and a province and a federal government, we're going to acknowledge this as a crisis, then you have to act like it's a crisis. If your house is burning and you think that's an emergency, you don't take your time and, collect things and hem and haw. You make sure you get out of the house, you make sure people are safe. That's how we need to treat folks that are living on the street. That's how we need to treat people in our communities. Their lives matter. Their stuff, their belongings, their identities, their community, their families matter.
The group is also calling for the city to repeal laws and policies which criminalize homelessness. Council is expected to discuss encampments at their next meeting later this month. As summer slowly winds to a close, the youth in Regina are grudgingly gearing up to go back to school. As Jacob Carr explains, the North Central Family Centre, with the help of local sponsors and donors, is helping their community get ready for September.
The North Central Family Centre, along with Alliance Energy and several sponsors and donors, teamed up for the annual Back to School Bash on Wednesday.
We also have individual donations as well. So we go out and we purchase backpacks. We fill them with the necessary school supplies just to ensure that every child goes back to school successful.
Clapping that rack right there.
Local nonprofit My City Care provided clothing for the event, giving the community a chance to pick out some threads.
So our volunteers are here to provide, just like you would to the opportunity to go to any of our retail stores. They can shop with dignity and feel like they're actually finding pieces for their kids that are really great, that they choose and they're in control of.
Thank you guys. Have fun, man. You guys are wonderful.
Both My City Care and the North Central Family Centre agree that the price of back-to-school supplies has become unaffordable for some, so offering back-to-school items like shoes for free is something they hope can have a positive impact.
You want that sweet pair of shoes, so we hope that there's those few kids that come here today that find the perfect pair of shoes that will help them feel proud and just give that extra little bit of a boost of self-esteem that they need in order to get back into school.
Those on hand on Wednesday Day were not only treated to clothing and supplies, but even had a chance to take home some extra swag.
But then there's also a raffle that goes along with it. So we're also giving away gift cards, grocery baskets, toys for the kids, just fun items that we've been able to collect through different donations.
The North Central Family Centre says that the bash is about bringing the community together and having the youth walk away with a smile on their faces.
Here, put it on. Oh, fresh. Take your sword. Don't get me.
Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
Regina swimmers will get to stay outside longer this year as the city extends the Wascana pool season through to the end of September. The extended schedule goes until September 28th, meant to help bridge that gap while the Indoor Lawson Aquatic Center undergoes annual maintenance. Other pools in the city will remain open until the start of September, so still a couple weeks left to make use of those facilities. The Public Legal Education Association of Saskatchewan has relaunched a program to help those who have experienced sexual harassment. The SHIFT project connects victims of workplace sexual harassment with free legal advice to explore their options. According to the program, nearly 50% of women and 30% of men report experiencing harassment or sexual assault in the workplace.
It gives them information and empowers them to understand their situation and to give them options about how to move forward. And they don't need to commit to moving forward to access the program. It's just an opportunity to understand the laws and the different options.
The program can be accessed at shift.plea.org. And the summer in many parts of the province means construction season, and that is the case in Yorkton. In fact, some residents have taken to social media criticizing the city for simultaneous closures of streets and long detours. Mayor Aaron Keenley says that the CP rail construction is already finished. The city is also at the tail end of the construction season. He says nearly all the roadway and major projects will be completed by this week.
There'll still be some maintenance, crack sealing, and some pothole filling, and some of the smaller stuff that will happen throughout the rest of summer and fall. But all the big projects are coming to completion.
Does include the construction by the Gallagher Centre and the Kakawishnaha gas station. Coming up, Air Canada is canceling flights as a work stoppage by flight attendants is right around the corner. And U.S. President Donald Trump speaks with allies ahead of his meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Back to our top story. Air Canada will be canceling flights starting tomorrow, gradually suspending takeoff and landings to prepare for a shutdown. The phased suspension comes ahead of a possible strike by flight attendants or that's starting Saturday at 1 a.m. Eastern. Judy Trin now on whether there's an 11th hour solution to try and avert this work stoppage.
Air Canada has started canceling flights to lock out its flight attendants, even before they walk off the job, leaving some in a desperate lurch. Marianne Barrow's weekend flight to LA was canceled. She may not get to her family reunion.
It's been 3 hours. I'm on hold, like waiting. So I told my husband, drop me off at the airport. Maybe someone can help me from an Air Canada customer service. And they said they can't.
To explain why the airline is taking measures ahead of Saturday's strike deadline, Air Canada President Michael Rousseau says the airline regrets the impact of the disruption. He blames the disappointing conduct of CUPE's negotiators and says the risk of a strike can create chaos for travelers. The union representing 10,000 flight attendants said that Air Canada's offer doesn't keep pace with inflation.
The company came to us with a very minimal wage proposal. So they put 8% on the table in the first year, and that still would not pull our members out of the poverty level at the beginning.
Air Canada did offer a 38% increase in pay over 4 years, improved pension, ground pay, and crew rest, and an offer for binding arbitration. The airline will lose hundreds of millions of dollars if a strike can't be averted.
So they've struggled a bit with profitability the last quarter. So this is going to be something that will really hit the bottom line.
£130,000 passengers could be impacted daily. For now, many remain on the side of the workers.
We think that they should get paid for what they're doing. If they're not getting paid for those hours boarding and deplaning, they should be paid for that.
For now, the federal government is staying on the sidelines, but offering mediators to help with negotiations. Federal Labor Minister Patty Hajdu says the best agreements are the ones the parties reach themselves. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
The Canadian Union of Postal Workers set to resume talks with Canada Post as they try to come to terms on a new contract. The union says it has agreed to meet with the Crown Corporation on Friday and Monday. Both sides met with federal mediators yesterday. The talks come after postal workers rejected the company's latest proposal. It would have increased wages, but also included restructuring that would have had more part-time employees. Negotiations have been ongoing for more than a year and a half. The union says a national overtime ban does remain in effect. Canada's agriculture and trade ministers will meet with canola groups this afternoon in the face of China's 75.8% anti-dumping duty on the crops. The new duties are set to come into effect tomorrow. Canada's canola industry is calling for Ottawa to take action, warning that a tariff this steep may seal off Beijing's $5 million market to Canada. This comes amid a year-long trade dispute that began with the federal government imposing tariffs on Chinese EV imports last summer. China is the world's biggest importer of canola and sources nearly all of its supplies of the product from Canada. A key week in the push to end the war in Ukraine, U.S. President Donald Trump held a virtual call with European leaders and Ukraine leader Vladimir Zelensky, who was in Germany talking to allies. The U.S. president is preparing to meet with the Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska on Friday. Michael Couture has more on Trump's stance heading in.
There has been a notable shift in President Trump's tone this week when talking about Friday's meeting. He's gone from saying Ukraine should be ready for a land swap to now saying Russia better be prepared for some serious talks.
I don't have to say there will be very severe consequences.
President Trump with a stern but vague warning to Vladimir Putin if the Russian president isn't serious about negotiating in Alaska. Now, if that meeting does go well, the American president wants to move quickly towards another summit.
I would like to do it almost immediately, and we'll have a quick second meeting between President Putin and President Zelensky and myself if they'd like to have me there.
European leaders emerged from a video conference with Trump this morning saying all agree. Any change to Ukraine's borders must be decided by Ukrainians. That call was to shape Friday's discussion. While Zelensky won't be at that table, he hopes the central focus is a ceasefire. Putin is bluffing about wanting to end the war, Zelensky told reporters, as well as European leaders and Trump. After a separate meeting of European countries and Canada, the coalition of the willing released a statement saying it is ready to implement military plans to support Ukraine in the event of a ceasefire.
We're ready to support this, including through the plans that we've already drawn up to deploy a reassurance force once hostilities have ceased.
When that could be remains an open question. Russian forces have reportedly pushed into territory held by Ukraine in the Donetsk region.
The only thing that is going to put an end to this war is if the U.S. gives a lot more military aid to Ukraine and allies itself with the Europeans and Zelensky.
President Zelensky has been pushing for more economic sanctions on Russia to cripple its war machine, something Trump has been reluctant to consider so far. Michael Couture, CTV News, Ottawa.
In a rare reversal, U.S. visitors to Canada have actually outnumbered Canadians traveling to the U.S. New numbers from Statistics Canada show U.S. residents made 1.8 million trips into Canada by automobile last month, with only 1.7 million Canadian return trips from the U.S. Canadian trips to the U.S. have outnumbered U.S. Canada trips every July since, well, before the COVID-19 pandemic until now. July travel has declined in both directions, though, since last year, with U.S. visitor totals down 7.4% and Canadian return trips plunging 36.9%. Still ahead, it's not just a schoolyard game. Meet the teenagers heading overseas to compete against the best in tug-of-war.
is your unofficial ice cream day of the week. Why? Well, it's Miracle Treat Day over DQ. Mike Siona will be on the go, finding out where the money raised goes.
News, weather, and traffic. It's everything you need. CTV Morning Live. Weekdays 6 to 9.
Welcome back. Taking a look outside through our sky cam here overlooking Wascana Lake in Regina. A very warm day in the Queen City. Warmed up to 29 degrees. We're at 28 now, so starting to cool down, but 29 degrees. Just last hour felt like 35 degrees. So for much of the day, it did feel like we were in the low 30s. And as we head into the next couple of days, rounding out this work week, we're going to start to see those temperatures dip just a little. But then we'll see a warm-up return for the weekend. Now, we still have a number of watches and warnings in effect for mostly central Saskatchewan, but then again, we are also seeing those rainfall warnings for the north. I'll show you what we're expecting in terms of rainfall totals, mostly for the north, but we could see a little bit of that rain come through for southern Saskatchewan later on, mostly Saturday early morning. But this is what we've been looking at for much of the day, and this is what we've got coming up. So we still have this storm cell with this band of precipitation with a number of storm cells coming through. As we head into tonight, we could expect to see more of those storm cells in the Wynyard area, and we could actually start to see more of those severe thunderstorm warnings go into place. We did see some tornado warnings earlier this afternoon, and again, with these storm cells, there is a slight chance we could see some of those tornado warnings also come into place as that system continues to make its way into Manitoba. Later, after about midnight, we will see that system settle into the parkland, primarily around the Yorkton area as well. So could expect to see those thunderstorms in and around the parkland later tonight, overnight into tomorrow morning. Now, as we head into tomorrow, though, we'll see most of, central southern Saskatchewan primarily seeing less of that precipitation. North, still seeing heavy rainfall. You can see La Loche way up there, still under the deep green, which is heavier rainfall. And that'll continue as we head into Thursday evening as that system clears out. Much of southern Saskatchewan starting to clear out as well before we see the cloud and rain return Friday. So cloudy, mostly cloudy conditions expected for Friday, and again some scattered precipitation. And there's another system coming, bringing more rain Saturday morning. Now that system does look like it's going to clear out. So if you are heading to the Rider game on Saturday, it does start at 1 p.m. So it's looking like we will see more sunshine for the afternoon, which is great. But this is what I wanted to just point out real quick in terms of rainfall total. So again, you can see the south not looking too bad. The most we're going to see is probably in the southeast. There are 11 for Estevan, 7 millimeters for Weyburn. But far north, seeing much heavier rainfall. La Ronge, between now and to Saturday afternoon, could see close to 70 millimeters of rain. Close to 40 for Buffalo Narrows and for Meadow Lake. Even Saskatoon, between now and to Saturday, could see up to close to 30 millimeters of rain. Meanwhile, Regina, about a millimeter. So trace amounts, again, like southern Saskatchewan, like I said, for southern Saskatchewan. But again, keeping in mind the north, I know we need that rain, but when it becomes too much in a quick span of time, it could be something you want to keep an eye on as well. Temperatures much cooler for La Loche tonight at 9 degrees and only 11 degrees tomorrow. So as this system, especially in the north, is coming through, we're going to see those temperatures much cooler. Even Saskatoon, 19 is the expected high tomorrow. North Battleford, 17, 22 for Yorkton, and then we'll see those temperatures a little warmer, at least in the 20s, but not quite at that seasonal mark. 21 for Maple Creek, 20 for Swift Current, Moose Jaw, 22. Southeast, similar numbers, low 20s across the board. Clearer conditions tonight for the southeast and mostly sunny conditions for many parts of the southeast as well. Tonight for Regina, winds up to 50 kilometers an hour, 23 and mainly sunny tomorrow. And here's a look at your next 7 days. So we will see those temperatures returning back to seasonal and much warmer as we head into the middle of next week. But it's just tomorrow 23 and cooler on Friday 18. By Saturday, like I mentioned, by noon we'll see mostly sunny conditions, but expect rain in the morning for Regina, 25 degrees. And then as we start off our next work week, not only seasonal, but close to 30 degrees for Tuesday, Wednesday. So we're not completely done with summer just because we're inching closer to September. Yeah.
The fun in the sun.
Yes.
And then, yes, September would be a little more difficult.
We won't talk about that because I know lots of people don't want to talk about September. Let's talk about summer conditions right now. They continue.
All right. Thanks, Sabine, even though we both like fall. Bye.
Bye.
Tug-of-war. Usually thought of as a fun schoolyard activity, or if you watch maybe Squid Games, a game to determine who's going to be eliminated next. But as Scott Miller tells us, a group of Southern Ontario teens is headed to the Netherlands for a competitive tug-of-war championship.
With each practice, the Blue Water Youth Tug-of-War team is getting themselves ready to take on some of the best tug-of-war teams in the world.
It's a huge deal for us, you know. We're going to the Netherlands, it's a different country, so we know that the competition is going to be really hard over there because, you know, we've just been around here doing competitions in North America, and that's, you know, a small area. But now that we're going on like the world stage and against a whole bunch of other countries around the world, it's just a bigger deal, and we're really excited to show off what we got.
Hoffman is one of 10 members of the Blue Water Youth Tug-of-War team headed to the International Tug-of-War Tournament in the Netherlands on August the 30th. Very few North American teams ever get to participate, but this group of 10 to 17-year-olds who train bi-weekly near Dashwood have won the last 3 U23 North American Tug-of-War Championships, so they are eager to take on stiffer competition overseas.
Yep, the future of tug-of-war in Canada, hopefully we can get it to grow back to what some of the countries like Switzerland and the Netherlands have with, you know, memberships in the thousands, but you got to start here.
Blue Water has always had a strong senior tug-of-war team, but building up a junior squad has been a slow and steady process, convincing kids they don't need to be 250 pounds of pure muscle in order to participate.
It's more about technique and having multiple people on the rope. More people on the rope that you can fit underneath the weight limit, the better you are.
It's really all in the legs. You just have to pull what you can.
Tug-of-war is totally inclusive, but you just have to be strong for your weight, whether it's 100 pounds or 300 pounds. You're accountable for every pound of that on the rope, and that goes towards your team weight, so you know, it's all relative, right?
Blue Water's youth tug-of-war team leaves for the Netherlands in just a couple weeks as they ready to represent Canada at the world's biggest tug-of-war competition for kids.
Yeah, it's so cool. Being able to tell people that you're going to represent our country is the coolest thing to be able to say. So
I'm really excited. I feel like it's a good opportunity for teamwork and just to represent Canada.
It's explosive power. Yeah, the kids are ready.
In Huron County, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Coming up, the underdog continues to roll in the WCBL playoffs as the Regina Red Sox bury Saskatoon's title hopes.
Wardrobe consideration in part by Colin O'Brien Men's Shop.
For the first time since before the pandemic, the Regina Red Sox are headed to the Western Canadian Baseball League Finals. They buried the Berries last night, despite Saskatoon having the league's best ever record for the regular season. Donovan Mace has more.
In a David vs. Goliath series, the Regina Red Sox have slayed a giant.
He'll throw on the first, that's it. And the Regina Red Sox have won the East Division.
Squashing the record-breaking Saskatoon Berries in the WCBL's East Division Final, sending Regina to their first league championship series since 2019.
All came together at the right time, and it had to beat a real good team like the Berries.
Hit high in the air, well hit, ringing double off the center field fence by Brady Bye, his third RBI of the game.
Regina product Brady Bye remembers vividly watching the Red Sox as a kid make championship runs.
I remember thinking that those guys were like pros out there. I remember chasing around the baseballs, all that, wanting all the autographs, so it's super cool to be a part of that now.
A surreal moment for the catcher to be 2 wins away from hoisting the Harry Hallis Memorial Trophy, something the team hasn't done since winning back-to-back championships in 2011 and in 2012.
I think we're saving the best for the finals, but I think everything's kind of slowly started to click a little later, but better late than never.
That one hit high and hard out to right field. Goodbye.
As the number 3 seed, Regina has overcome a steep mountain of adversity this playoffs, losing just 1 game.
Give us some confidence. We know Saskatoon had the best record in WCBA history, so we know like it would be a tough fight.
The intensity's high. I think we just wanted a little more. Around this time, you just got to give it your all and play like it's your last game.
An underdog story nearly complete with one last hill to climb.
Makes the play, and the Sylvan Lake Gulls have got the dog off their back.
The Sylvan Lake Gulls.
We're starting to play our best baseball right now, so the sky's the limit for these guys, and you know they're determined. They have great character. We have a lot of talent. and you know, the best is yet to come.
Game 1 goes Thursday night at Curry Field. Donovan May, CTV News, Regina.
The Riders defense will face a big challenge this week, trying to stop one of the league's leading receivers in Hamilton's Kenny Lawler.
I think it's his catch radius. You know, he's able to get the ball anywhere you put it. He's making diving catches, one-handed catches, and a lot of receivers don't have that in their bag. And, you know, so a shout out to him. And when you got Bo Levi who can throw the ball, like I was saying, 65, 70 yards down the field, it just makes it easier to be able to just get him the ball.
In 9 games, Lawler has 783 yards and 8 touchdowns, including an 8-catch, 162-yard performance against the Riders in Week 2. But the Riders feel they can limit the damage coming off a game where they allowed just 132 yards passing against Montreal.
Pretty much you just got to put yourself in position to be where, you know, wherever you think you can make the play on the ball. You know, when the ball's in the air, if it's a high ball, you know, you gotta be a little deeper. If it's something you can come back on, you know, you can put yourself in that situation too. But, you know, with him, it's going to be a tough task. You know, he's tall, he's lengthy, and, you know, you just got to make sure that you put yourself in the best situation for yourself.
You know, if we can get the timing off, you know, with the pressure, and then cover down, you know, have eyes on 89. And even then, you know, sometimes he's going to trust his guy, he's going to put it up there. So it's up to us to capitalize on those opportunities.
Riders will tango with the Ticats Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock. And welcome to another edition of X's and O's with Wes Cates. Wes, we've got a rematch of Week 2 between the Hamilton Ticats and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Although Hamilton, a lot better team than they were back in Week 2. They hadn't won a game yet back then. So I guess the big thing is Bo Levi, Mitchell, and this offense, including Kenny Lawler, who had a great game against the Riders in Week 2. Yeah. How do you stop this offense?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I mean, Kenny Lawler slowed down a little bit, but Bo Levi is rivaling Trevor Harris with the way he's playing this year. Actually, probably if you look at it statistically, Bo Levi is the best quarterback in the CFL right now. But I think it just comes down to just playing the way the Riders have been playing, you know, not trying to blitz him too much or do anything too crazy because he's seen all that. Just kind of sit back and hope, you know, to get some pressure with 4, like the Riders have been doing a little better these last few weeks. That on top of the fact that I think, you know, our defense is a little turnover prone. So I think, you know, you'll get a tip ball or maybe a receiver that runs a bad route, or Bo Levi maybe a little errant overthrow. And let's hope we can get our hands on it and get the ball back to the offense. But it's going to be a tough task. But this is what you want. You want good competitive games. You want to go up against the best. And right now, Hamilton is looking like one of the better teams in the East, if not the best team in the East. So it's going to be a good test for the Riders. And coming off of a bye week, I think the Riders had a little more time to prepare for Hamilton than Hamilton has for the Riders, so it should be a good scenario to go and get a win at home.
Now, of course, the defense for the Riders coming off that great performance against Montreal, only allowing a few points. Granted, Montreal didn't have Davis Alexander, Austin Mack, didn't have Philpott in the lineup, so it wasn't their best team, but the confidence of this out of the bye week for the Riders defense has to be extremely strong.
Yeah, riding high for sure, Lee. I think that that was a surprise for everybody. I don't know if anybody expected the Riders to go into Montreal and dominate like that. 34 points they put up, and what was it, 6 points they gave up. Yep. So I mean, it was a great showing, especially on the road. You know, teams don't necessarily travel well. The Riders didn't travel well the one time that they did. They had a couple of close games that they kind of had to battle through to get the win. So I think that just shows how this team has been progressing and improving and just coming together as a unit. I think the team in general is rallying around Trevor Harris. Obviously, the receivers are coming in prepared. The O-line's been playing great, and then the defense has really been shutting teams down statistically and making it a lot harder for teams to score on them these last couple of weeks. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm just hoping that they don't have a similar letdown coming out of the bye like they did against Calgary.
Yeah, don't forget that's their only loss, and it was coming out of the bye week, so and a home game as well. So we'll see if they don't deal with that situation. Trevor Harris, though, in a good position here because Hamilton's defense definitely not as strong as Saskatchewan's defense. Rourke threw for 400 yards against them last week in a victory for the BC Lions. So you would think that along with A.J. Ouellette in a running attack, they should have a good game, though I thought that against the Elks a couple weeks ago, and that wasn't an explosive game either.
Well, it's hard to tell. Sometimes, you know, it's the game planning. Coaches will throw some wrinkles in there, and, you know, I know Hamilton's got some players as well, so we'll just see how it goes. Trevor Harris, obviously we want to implement that run game and have a little balance to it, but I think whether Trevor has to throw 40 or 50 times, or hopefully he doesn't, and we can get AJ and that O-line going and make sure we can get that 100+. See if Mario Anderson gets in the mix as well. He had a good showing last game, added a good 50 yards to that rushing total. So we'll just kind of see how things play out. I think the Riders, like I said, have had a chance to prepare for this team, maybe have thrown in some wrinkles to expose some things they saw on film that Hamilton isn't doing great. So I think the Rider offense will fare pretty well in this one.
Keyshawn Johnson had a great game in week 2. We'll see if he can do the same thing. Some people calling it a Grey Cup preview. Not sure about that, but it is definitely going to be the start of a long stretch for the Riders that will show exactly where they are in this league. We'll analyze that game and look forward to next week on another edition of X's and O's.
X's and O's, brought to you by Campion College at the University of Regina.
And sad news, a member of the 66 Grey Cup championship team has died. Former Rider defensive back Bob Kosid passed away. Born in Brandon, Manitoba, he played for the Green and White between 64 and 72, a career that included the team's first ever Grey Cup win in 66. He was 83 years old. Still ahead, how wildfires are impacting farmers in Atlantic Canada.
Let's just do the weather here, shall we? Rural forecast is what we're talking about heading into tomorrow. Temperatures are a little cooler in some parts, especially in central Saskatchewan with that system that will be coming through today into tomorrow morning. And many of these temperatures looking to be in the mid to high teens, and a little bit more cloud cover expected as well. Much cooler in Meadow Lake tomorrow, 13 degrees, cloudy, 14 and cloudy in Spiritwood, 16 and mostly cloudy in Lloydminster. And then over in Hudson Bay, 19 mostly cloudy. And Watrous and Outlook and Kindersley all seeing a mix of sun and cloud conditions tomorrow. 19 is the expected daytime high. And then getting closer to the southern border, for the most part, temperatures within a few degrees of what the average is, except for areas like Rosetown and down in East End Cypress. 18 with a mix of sun and cloud. 23 for many parts of the southeast there, mainly sunny. And then over in Maple Creek, Leader, 21 and a mix of sun and cloud there as well. Taking a closer look at Qu'Appelle, located about 60 kilometers east of Regina, and where internet speeds up to 1 gig are available through SaskTel. Tomorrow, mainly sunny for the Qu'Appelle area. 21 is the expected daytime high with the winds up to about 45 kilometers an hour. But the 21 degrees will feel closer to about 22 or 23 degrees.
Harvest season may just be getting started in the fields for farmers, but a specialty harvest at the U of R is all wrapped up after just one day thanks to students and volunteers. As Brittany Poitras reports, the goods of the garden are going towards helping the local community.
It's a bumper crop. Cucumbers, zucchinis, lettuce, and a lot more. Needing many hands because it's harvest day at the University of Regina's Green Patch Garden. More than 200 students, staff, and volunteers pitched in to harvest the garden on Wednesday. That spans 5,400 square feet. Fresh produce that goes to those who need it.
And all of it is going back to the community. So it's going to Carmichael Outreach, the YWCA, and the Ursu Cares Pantry that's located on the University of Regina campus here.
The students who tend the garden say that it's about more than just food. It's about coming together to teach each other how to use their green thumbs.
We actually use that space to provide more education overall with the university community, among our students and staff, to be able to give them some resources and education so that they can grow their own.
The garden coordinator says the garden also helped her to grow her awareness of the need of fresh produce in Regina.
Being a part of the Green Patch has really opened my eyes to how important it is to fight food insecurity. Before, it was just kind of an interest of mine, but now I realized how crucial it is to help those in need.
The Green Patch Garden will be free for community members to take what they need until the end of harvest season. The on-site elder let those in attendance know the importance of the vegetables and plants growing in the garden.
Always remember they are gifts from the Creator. They're gifts from Mother Earth.
The food in this garden is feeding the hungry stomachs across Regina and could be on the plates as soon as this evening.
Brittany Poitras, CTV News, Regina.
Homeowners in the Maritimes have been watching their lawns dry out with water restrictions in place. So imagine what it's like being a farmer watching your crops wither in parched fields because of the ban of the wildfires. CTV's Jonathan McInnes has more.
The dirt in Jordan Ayami's fields falls through her fingers. That's not a good sign.
You squeeze it and then you let it go, and if it stays together, you generally don't need to irrigate.
Watering the fields has been a constant effort as hot, dry conditions persist for farmers across the province. The last significant rainfall came back in early June. The beans are so dry, only half the pod is filling out.
It's a significant yield loss, which means, our margins are going to be tighter. We don't have the profit that we would normally see. And not only that, but we're also, irrigating more. We're our labor is expensive.
In the heat of the day, they usually come in to get a drink.
The lack of rain is affecting cattle farmers, too.
The water level is getting low, so we're keeping an eye on that. And it's also affecting, our hay crop. We had a really good first crop. No problem, but our second crop, where you get the really high quality feed for the winter feed, is just not there.
With very little grass growing in the fields for the animals to graze on, some farmers are already turning to their winter supply to feed them now. That could lead to some tough decisions.
It's either going to be we're going to run short and have to purchase more feed, or we're going to have to get, let go of some animals so we don't have as many to feed.
I think a lot of farmers are going to be really begging for some help after this drought.
Horticulture Nova Scotia will be looking at resources to help, and that will include funding for better water pumps and more efficient irrigation systems. Jonathan McInnes, CTV News.
Markets both on the way up. The TSX up 72 points, at Dow Jones by 463 points. As for the Canadian dollar, it went nowhere, stayed the same, 72.71 cents U.S. Commodity front, gold up $7.61. West Texas Intermediate crude down 52 cents, while Western Canadian Select crude was down 47 cents. And gas in Regina found right now for $1.37.9 cents per litre. Coming up tonight, we've got no big bangs. It looks like a prequel could be in the works for one of the top films at the box office right now.
I don't understand at all. Why just her classroom? Why only her?
Looks like a great mystery movie at first. Horror thriller Weapons brought in more than $42 million U.S. in its debut weekend. It tells the story of a town shattered by the mysterious disappearance of an entire classroom of children. Now sources tell The Hollywood Reporter that talks are underway with filmmaker Zach Krager to create a story about what takes place beforehand, focusing on the origin story of one prominent character in particular.
That we can't tell you about.
The sources said there was no timeline for the potential prequel's release. See that trailer? I feel like it's just so misleading.
What do you mean misleading?
Because it looks like it could be a great mystery movie. And
oh, there's a mystery, all right.
All right, one
many other
last thing. One of these things is not like the other.
Now you have something wholesome.
Yeah.
This tortoise has always lived with dogs and is the leader of their pack. It has outlived many furry friends already, but continues to show love to each new pup that joins the family.
Oh.
Come on, pups, join the turtles.
What?